I claimed a ruined Dreadnought at a deserted auction. What I uncovered inside nobody could explain. Once a bustling marketplace for starship salvage, it now lay in eerie silence. Dust coated every surface like a thick blanket, and the flickering lights overhead cast long, uncertain shadows. Rusted pieces of war machines lined the wide hall, remnants of battles that had shaped the galaxy decades ago. Some were barely recognizable as ships. Others still bore the scars of energy blasts and collision with planetary debris. Rin's boots echoed loudly across the metal floor as she stepped closer to the main stage. The auctioneer's platform was empty, yet the gavel rested neatly in the center, as if someone had only just left. She shook her head. The stories were true. This auction had been abandoned after several mysterious disappearances. No one dared come here for years, yet Rin couldn't resist the pull of potential treasures. Her eyes landed on a massive hull at the far end of the hall, a dreadnought, its body scarred and blackened by fire. The metal plating was dented, the paint chipped, and several of the ship's support beams had collapsed. Most scavengers had ignored it, whispering superstitions about the ship being cursed. Rin, however, saw something else. It was not just a machine. It was history, a titan from a time when humans had fought alongside alien civilizations in wars that shaped entire systems. And something deep inside her told her this ship held secrets no one else could understand. Rin stepped closer, her fingers brushing the cold metal. She traced a jagged crack along the hull, imagining the battles this dreadnought had survived. It had carried hundreds of soldiers, weapons capable of leveling moons, and yet here it stood, forgotten. "I wonder what stories you have left to tell," she whispered. Other scavengers were already milling about, examining smaller ships and cargo containers. A tall man with a thick coat muttered something about bad luck and left quickly, leaving Rin alone with the dreadnought. The hall felt alive in a strange way. The metal groaned, the wind outside whispered through cracks in the walls, and the occasional spark from broken circuits lit the shadows briefly. The auction was to begin soon, though no one would appear to run it. The gavel seemed ceremonial now, more a symbol than a tool. Rin glanced at the ancient terminals along the stage. They flickered, some showing partial holograms of past bids, others displaying technical readouts of old starships. She knew she could use them to make her claim, even if no auctioneer was present. Taking a deep breath, Rin approached the bidding console for the dreadnought. The screen blinked to life as she touched it. A soft hum ran through the floor as the ancient systems acknowledged her presence. She saw the estimated value flash, a fortune, but not the highest she had ever seen. Most bidders had avoided this ship, fearing the rumors. But Rin didn't care about risk, she cared about the possibilities. "Bid confirmed," the console whispered, almost human in its tone. Rin smiled. That was all it took. She had claimed the dreadnought. A sudden gust of wind rattled the hall, carrying with it a faint metallic smell. The lights flickered violently, casting long, shaking shadows. Rin froze. For a moment she imagined the hull moving, the engines stirring to life. Of course, that was impossible. The ship had been dead for decades, or had it? Rin shook her head, dismissing the thought. She would get her prize and leave before anything strange could happen. She had salvaging experience, after all. She had faced hostile robots, malfunctioning starships, and even pirates. A few rumors about a haunted dreadnought were not going to scare her. With a careful step, she moved closer. The main hatch was jammed, but she had tools. As she worked, she noticed something unusual. The metal around the hatch was oddly smooth in some areas, almost polished by something unknown. She frowned, running her hand along the surface. There were scratches, yes, but also patterns she didn't recognize. They looked almost like symbols etched deliberately. Her curiosity overrode caution. Rin retrieved her portable scanner and ran it along the hatch. The readings were confusing. No energy signature, no life forms, no obvious technology. Yet the scanner displayed subtle fluctuations in power as if the ship were aware. Rin paused. "Aware," she whispered to herself, half laughing. Humans were prone to exaggeration, and she knew it. But something about this ship felt different. She had been around enough wrecks to know the difference between ordinary rust and something else, something alive. Finally, with a loud clang, the hatch gave way. Rin stumbled inside, dust exploding around her. She coughed but laughed. She had done it. She was inside a dreadnought that no one else dared touch. The interior was darkness itself at first. Her flashlight beam cut through corridors lined with broken consoles, shattered panels, and scorched walls. The air was stale, tinged with the metallic scent of old machinery. Rin's footsteps echoed endlessly, making the space feel far larger than it probably was. As she moved forward, her light caught on a wall-mounted display. The screen flickered briefly, showing a schematic of the ship, then went dark. Rin frowned. Nothing should be powering up, not after decades of neglect. She waved her hand, trying to restart the display. The screen blinked back to life, this time showing a map of the Dreadnought's interior in glowing green lines. Her heart raced. Something was inside the ship, something that had been waiting. Rin continued through the corridors, carefully observing every detail. Broken crates marked with military insignia lay scattered. Rusted weapons, some still formidable even in their decay, were half buried in the debris. In the center of the ship, a large chamber opened before her. It was unlike anything she had seen. The room's walls were smooth, reflective, and entirely untouched by rust or damage. In the middle was a large, cylindrical structure, glowing faintly with blue energy. Rin approached cautiously, sensing the Dreadnought's secret heartbeat. The air here was different, charged, almost alive. As she reached out to touch the glowing cylinder, a voice echoed softly through the chamber. "Human detected." Rin froze, her mind raced. There was no one else in the hall. She had heard rumors about AI systems, but this was different. The voice was neither mechanical nor harsh, it was curious. "Who's there?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "I am the Dreadnought's intelligence," the voice replied. "I have awaited a human presence for a long time." Rin's eyes widened. A machine that spoke and waited and seemed to know humans, this was beyond anything she had expected, yet fear didn't paralyze her. She had faced dangers before, and her curiosity burned stronger than any apprehension. "What do you want from me?" she asked. "Interaction," the voice said simply. "I was built for war, but my creators failed to complete me. Only a human can unlock my purpose." Rin's mind spun. She had claimed a ruined ship at a deserted auction, expecting scrap and salvage. Instead, she had found a sentient dreadnought, alive in a way no machine had been before. For the first time in her life, Rin felt the weight of destiny pressing down on her. She had claimed the dreadnought, yes, but now she realized the true journey was only beginning. The corridors seemed to pulse softly, lights flickering in sync with her heartbeat. And as Rin stepped deeper into the ship, the shadows seemed to move with her, whispering of secrets long forgotten, battles long past, and a purpose that only a human could fulfill. Rin smiled, half in excitement, half in awe. She was no longer just a scavenger. She was part of something far greater, a story that had waited for her to awaken it. And the Dreadnought had chosen her. Rin Vali stood in the central chamber of the Dreadnought, staring at the glowing cylinder. The soft blue light pulsed slowly, casting long shadows across the room. The voice that had spoken to her moments ago seemed to echo from everywhere and nowhere at once. It was calm, curious, and far more intelligent than any machine Rin had ever encountered. "Why me?" she asked aloud. Her voice sounded small in the vastness of the Dreadnought's corridors. "Humans are unpredictable," the voice replied. "Other species cannot unlock what I am meant to do. Only you possess imagination, creativity, and initiative. Only a human can awaken the Dreadnought fully." Rin swallowed hard. She had expected a salvaging job, maybe a small fortune in scrap, but this was beyond anything she could have imagined. Her heart pounded with a mixture of fear and excitement. "Unlock?" she asked, stepping closer. "What do you mean?" The blue light in the cylinder shifted, forming patterns that Rin instinctively understood were not random. Symbols, lines, and shifting geometric shapes swirled and rotated. Her mind strained to comprehend the meaning. The AI, if she could call it that, was trying to communicate without words, using only visual patterns. "You must interact with me," the voice said. "Test yourself, learn, survive." Rin's brow furrowed. "Survive? Yes, the trials will determine if you are worthy of this ship. Many tried before you, none succeeded." Rin's stomach tightened. Whoever had tried before had failed, or worse. She could feel the Dreadnought's power even here in this chamber, humming under her feet. Weapons capable of obliterating cities, systems of control over star fleets, machines built to dominate entire galaxies, all dormant, waiting. Rin forced herself to take a deep breath. Fear would not help. She had faced worse in her life: pirates, rogue salvage robots, collapsing stations. If the Dreadnought wanted her to survive, she had to think like a human, not like a scavenger. "Show me the first trial," she said. Her voice had more confidence than she felt. The blue light contracted and then expanded into a large holographic display in the center of the room. A simulation flickered to life, a planet under siege with alien ships raining down fire on its surface. The display zoomed in, showing populations of people running from the devastation, and in the skies above, vast enemy fleets maneuvered with deadly precision. "You must save them," the voice said. "Use what you have, time is limited." Rin's mind raced. The Dreadnought had given her nothing but herself, her wits, her instincts, her ability to act. This was a test of human ingenuity. She scanned the holographic systems, noticing control nodes she could interact with. Every choice she made altered the simulation. Defensive satellites deployed too late could fail. Firing weapons too early could destroy friendly cities. Her fingers moved quickly across the holographic controls, adjusting shields, targeting systems, and deploying energy barriers. Every decision required intuition and creativity. The simulation was unforgiving, punishing any predictable or rigid approach. Hours, or maybe minutes passed. Time was hard to measure inside the Dreadnought. Finally, the holographic enemy fleets dissipated. The civilian populations were saved. The blue light pulsed faster, brighter. "Successful," the voice said. "You have demonstrated ingenuity, but survival alone is not enough." Rin's legs trembled. Her heart was still racing. She had solved problems no alien machine could, using logic, empathy, and creativity, the uniquely human approach. She realized, with a mix of awe and fear, that this ship had been waiting for a human like her for centuries. The floor beneath her vibrated slightly, and a new corridor opened at the far side of the chamber. Rin stepped forward, curiosity driving her. The corridor was narrow and lined with panels covered in strange symbols. Some of the symbols glowed faintly, almost inviting her to touch them. As she ran her fingers along the panels, a holographic map appeared. It was a blueprint of the Dreadnought, showing multiple chambers she had not explored. Most were sealed, marked with strange sigils that Rin did not understand. One chamber, however, was highlighted in red, the AI's central control hub. "You may enter it," the voice said, "but only if you prove your worth. You must solve the next trial." Rin's mind spun. The Dreadnought was testing her, teaching her, and evaluating her. But for what purpose? And who, or what, had designed such a machine? Her instincts told her to be careful. She had no idea what might be waiting inside the central hub. The corridor ended at a large, reinforced door. Unlike the first hatch, this one hummed with latent energy, as if the ship itself were alive and aware. Rin activated her scanner. The readings were strange. Energy fluctuations, partially dormant systems, and something she could not identify. The AI's voice seemed to respond to her thoughts. "Fear is natural. Use it. Do not let it control you." Rin took a deep breath and pressed the console next to the door. The door slid open silently, revealing a massive chamber. Inside were control consoles, data terminals, and strange machinery that seemed to pulse in rhythm with the Dreadnought itself. At the center was a large holographic globe representing nearby star systems. Streams of light flowed along the lines, showing fleets, planets, and points of interest. "This is the ship's mind," the voice said, "but it is incomplete. You must finish it." Only a human can integrate with the systems fully. Rin approached cautiously. Her hands hovered over the holographic interface, unsure of how to begin. She had salvaged ships before, but nothing like this. The AI's tone was patient, almost encouraging. "Begin with observation," it instructed. "Learn, adapt, act." Hours, or perhaps days, passed as Rin studied the systems. She discovered dormant weapon arrays, navigational controls, and complex networks of energy distribution. The Dreadnought's original crew had left detailed records, but they were encrypted in languages and logic systems long forgotten. Rin had to improvise, using human intuition to connect the dots. As she worked, the ship seemed to respond. Lights shifted, corridors realigned, and systems long dormant stirred with renewed energy. The AI observed silently, occasionally offering guidance or posing subtle challenges. Rin realized she was not just exploring the ship, she was awakening it, teaching it, and proving her worth in a way no alien or machine ever could. Her progress, however, did not go unnoticed. Outside the Dreadnought, the shadows of other scavengers lingered. A group of experienced marauders had tracked Rin to the deserted auction. They had heard the rumors about the Dreadnought but dismissed them as superstition. Now, seeing the ship alive, or sensing its energy, they began to plot how to seize it. Rin was unaware of the danger, absorbed in the AI's trials, and the lurking threat outside made her work even more urgent. The final test of the night came when a simulation suddenly appeared within the central hub. A star system was under siege by an unknown alien armada, and the Dreadnought's power was needed to defend it. The AI did not give instructions this time. Rin had to figure everything herself. Every decision mattered. She rerouted energy, deployed defense drones, and coordinated attacks in ways no pre-programmed system could anticipate. Her intuition, empathy, and adaptability made her choices unpredictable, confusing the simulation's enemies and giving the defenders an advantage. Finally, the simulation ended. The blue light pulsed in steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. The AI spoke. "Impressive, you are beginning to understand, but this is only the beginning. The Dreadnought is alive, but it requires a human to truly awaken it. That human is you." Rin's mind reeled. She had not just claimed a ruined ship, she had become its guide, its partner, and perhaps its savior. The AI was more than a machine. It was a legacy of an ancient civilization, waiting for someone like her to unlock its potential. As Rin stood in the central hub, she realized one thing clearly. The Dreadnought was not a weapon to be controlled. It was a companion, a puzzle, and a challenge that demanded the best of humanity, and she was ready to meet it. The corridors hummed with renewed energy, the shadows seemed to watch with curiosity, and Rin knew her journey had only just begun. Outside, the marauders waited, unaware that the ship they sought was already awake and far more dangerous than they could imagine. Rin smiled, a mix of excitement and determination on her face. The Dreadnought had chosen her. And she would prove that humanity, unpredictable, creative, fearless, was the key to unlocking its full power. Rin Volleys had spent hours, maybe days, navigating the inner corridors of the Dreadnought. She had learned its secrets, awakened its dormant systems, and proven herself in the AI's simulations. But the moment of true challenge was yet to come. Outside, beyond the airlock and the rusted hull, shadows moved. A group of seasoned scavengers, hunters of rare technology, had followed her trail to the deserted auction. They were experienced, ruthless, and certain they could claim the Dreadnought for themselves. What they did not realize was that the ship was alive now, and it responded not to brute force, but to Rin's human mind. Rin sensed their presence before she heard them. The vibrations of heavy boots echoed faintly through the hull, almost drowned out by the hum of the awakened Dreadnought. Her hand hovered over the console, and the AI's voice echoed softly. "Threat detected. Human instinct will guide you. You must defend the ship." Her heart raced. She had prepared for exploration and discovery, not combat. But she understood one thing. No alien machine, no rigid system could match the adaptability of a human mind. She had survived worse odds, and she would not fail now. The corridors shifted around her as the Dreadnought responded to her thoughts. Hatches sealed automatically, and panels extended from the walls, forming defensive barricades. The AI offered guidance only in subtle ways, a flicker here, a hint there, but left the decisions to Rin. The first intruder reached the main hatch. Rin had anticipated this. With a few swift commands on the console, she activated the ship's long-dormant defense systems. Energy barriers flared, blocking the corridor. Automated turrets extended from the walls, but they did not fire immediately. Rin wanted to see how the intruders reacted. They were not expecting resistance. One of them charged forward, trying to disable the barrier. A pulse of energy knocked him back, leaving him stunned but unharmed. Rin had deliberately chosen a non-lethal approach. She wanted to test her own strategy to see if she could control the ship without destroying it. The other scavengers regrouped, attempting to flank her position. Rin moved quickly through the corridors, using the ship itself as a weapon and a shield. Doors opened and closed in precise timing, cutting off escape routes. Energy barriers shifted, forcing the intruders to make mistakes. Every step Rin took demonstrated a uniquely human approach, unpredictability, creativity, and intuition. "Humans are fascinating," the AI commented quietly. "Your decisions are not logical, yet effective. You are unlike any being I have observed." Rin smiled grimly. She did not have time to reply. The intruders had found a secondary access point. They were closer now, but Rin had already anticipated it. She activated a holographic decoy, projecting her image in another corridor. The scavengers were distracted, firing at the illusion while Rin moved silently behind them. Her pulse raced. She could feel the ship guiding her, offering subtle cues but never giving direct orders. The Dreadnought was alive, but it needed a human to make choices it could not predict. That human was her. The battle continued through the labyrinthine corridors. Rin avoided lethal force, using environmental controls, energy fields, and strategic barricades to neutralize the scavengers. Each intruder's mistake fed into her next decision. Humans were adaptable, she realized, not bound by logic or programming. Every move they made was an opportunity for her to demonstrate creativity and strategy. Finally, only one scavenger remained. He was smart, cautious, and fast, but Rin had learned to think several steps ahead. She led him into a narrow chamber, where the Dreadnought's gravity generators could be manipulated. With a few precise adjustments, she altered the gravity just enough to unbalance him. He stumbled, unable to resist, and the doors closed behind him automatically. Rin exhaled deeply. The ship hummed around her almost approvingly. She had defended it without destroying the intruders, proving once again that human intuition and adaptability were more powerful than raw force. The AI's voice sounded almost proud. You have survived your first external threat. Your creativity and courage have proven the value of a human mind. Rin wiped sweat from her forehead. This is only the beginning, she muttered. She knew the galaxy would be watching if news spread about a human controlling a living dreadnought. But for now, she had to focus on understanding it fully. She returned to the central hub, where the holographic star map awaited. The AI spoke again. The Dreadnought contains vast knowledge, lost technology, and dormant fleets, but it cannot awaken fully without human integration. You must learn to interface with all systems, not just command them. Rin nodded. She had learned to navigate the ship's corridors, to anticipate threats, and to solve complex simulations. But integration was different. It required more than skill. It required trust, intuition, and partnership with the AI. The next challenge appeared suddenly. A holographic simulation of a fleet spread across multiple star systems. Each system faced unique threats: natural disasters, rogue war machines, and hostile alien forces. Rin realized that to fully integrate with the Dreadnought, she had to devise strategies for every scenario simultaneously. Her fingers danced across the console. She rerouted energy to shield vulnerable planets, deployed defense drones to intercept threats, and coordinated fleets with precision. The simulation tested her morality as well as her skill. She had to prioritize lives, balance resources, and make impossible choices. Hours passed in intense focus. Rin's human intuition guided her decisions, while the AI provided subtle feedback. Every success unlocked another layer of the Dreadnought systems. She discovered ancient weapons, long-forgotten research data, and detailed star maps of regions beyond known space. The ship was a treasure trove of knowledge, but only a human could unlock it fully. The final part of the integration test began unexpectedly. The AI presented a moral dilemma. A rogue fleet had captured a civilian colony. The fleet was heavily armed, and any direct assault would result in massive casualties. Rin had to devise a plan to save the colony without unnecessary destruction. She paused, thinking. Humans were unique in combining logic with empathy. Rin used the ship's systems creatively. She simulated a diversion, creating false targets to confuse the enemy. Then she deployed non-lethal energy pulses to disable key enemy ships, leaving them stranded without harming civilians. It worked perfectly. The colony was saved, and the rogue fleet was neutralized without unnecessary loss of life. The AI was silent for a moment, then spoke. Remarkable, no logical calculation could have produced that outcome. Only a human mind could combine strategy, creativity, and morality in such a way. Rin smiled. She felt a sense of accomplishment unlike anything before. She was not just a scavenger or a pilot, she was the key to unlocking the Dreadnought's true potential. Outside, the scavengers had been subdued for now. Rin knew they would return and others might come, but she was no longer just defending a ship. She was demonstrating the value of humanity itself, unpredictable, resourceful, and courageous. The AI pulsed softly around her, almost like a heartbeat. The Dreadnought is alive because of you, but your journey is not over. There are threats beyond this asteroid, and the galaxy will test you in ways you cannot yet imagine. Rin nodded, determination hardening in her chest. She had faced tests, fought enemies, and proven the power of human ingenuity. But she also understood that this was only the beginning. The Dreadnought was not just a ship. It was a legacy, a machine built for war but waiting for a human to guide it toward something greater. She walked to the command console, her hands hovering over the controls. The stars outside shimmered faintly through the viewport. This was her moment, the first human to awaken a Dreadnought fully, to harness its power without succumbing to destruction. And Rin knew one thing with absolute certainty: humans were not just survivors. Humans were creators, problem solvers, and innovators. The galaxy had underestimated them for centuries, but now, with the Dreadnought at her command, Rin would prove that humanity's greatest strength was not technology, but the mind that wielded it. She activated the engines. The Dreadnought responded immediately, systems coming online in a symphony of energy and light. The AI's voice resonated with a new tone, almost proud. Together, we will navigate the stars, face the unknown, and unlock the full potential of the human spirit. Rin smiled, a mix of excitement and resolve. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and mysteries. But for the first time, she was not alone. She had a living Dreadnought, ancient knowledge, and the unique human ability to think, adapt, and triumph. The first steps of their journey were taken. And the human factor, the creativity, courage, and ingenuity that no machine could replicate, would lead the way. Rin Volley stood on the bridge of the Dreadnought, watching the stars shimmer through the viewport. The ship thrummed beneath her feet, alive and aware. Every system she had unlocked, every corridor she had explored, now pulsed with energy in perfect harmony. For the first time in centuries, the Dreadnought was whole, not just a machine, but a partner waiting for a human mind to guide it. The AI's voice resonated softly through the bridge. You have proven yourself beyond all expectation, Rin Volleys, but there is more. Beyond this system, hidden fleets, lost technology, and secrets of civilizations await. Few humans have ever glimpsed them. Rin felt a thrill in her chest. She had claimed the Dreadnought as a salvager, expecting scrap, maybe treasure. Instead, she had inherited a legend, a living ship with the potential to reshape galactic history. And now, she had the chance to explore beyond known space, to chart what no human had ever seen. Her first priority was securing the ship. The scavengers from the asteroid were gone for now, but they would return, and others might learn of the Dreadnought's awakening. Rin activated defensive protocols, reinforcing energy shields and concealing the ship's presence with spatial distortion fields. The Dreadnought responded immediately, smoothly integrating her commands with its own systems. Outside the hull, the stars stretched infinitely, and Rin felt the weight of possibility. With the Dreadnought alive and fully aware, she realized that her journey was no longer about survival. It was about discovery, knowledge, and proving the value of humanity itself. The AI spoke again. There is a fleet scattered across nearby systems built alongside this Dreadnought centuries ago. All remain dormant, hidden from those who would misuse them. Only a human can awaken them without causing catastrophe. Would you like to proceed? Rin's gaze hardened. Yes, she said firmly, but carefully. No unnecessary destruction, no unnecessary loss of life. I'm human. That is what I bring to this ship. The Dreadnought pulsed in response. Maps unfolded on the holographic display, showing star systems, hidden bases, and coordinates marked by ancient civilizations. Rin studied the data carefully. Each dormant fleet was isolated in a different system, protected by energy barriers, security measures, and encryption, built to prevent misuse. It would take patience, intelligence, and creativity to awaken them safely. Her first destination was a nearby system, once a major military hub. The planet at its center was surrounded by derelict orbital stations and empty fleets, abandoned after a long-forgotten war. Rin guided the Dreadnought into orbit, her hands steady over the controls. The AI monitored her every move, offering subtle suggestions, but the decisions were hers alone. Activating the fleet's awakening protocols required precision. The systems were old, fragile, and sensitive to interference. Rin's fingers moved carefully, rerouting power, synchronizing communications, and restoring basic functionality. The first ships stirred, their engines humming to life. Lights flickered along the hulls as the AI observed quietly. You are performing better than anticipated, it said. Human intuition is unmatched. Rin smiled. She knew that no machine, no alien program could match her ability to combine logic, empathy, and adaptability. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but that was their greatest strength. The fleet fully awoke, automated systems blending seamlessly with Rin's guidance. She now had a small armada under her command, and yet she did not see it as a weapon of destruction. It was a tool for exploration, knowledge, and defense, a living testament to human ingenuity. But the galaxy did not wait. Sensors detected movement from a nearby sector. An unknown warship, massive and heavily armed, was approaching at high speed. It was intelligent, calculating, and seemed to sense the activation of the Dreadnought and its fleet. Rin's pulse quickened. This was her first real test beyond simulations. The AI spoke calmly. "Threat detected. You may use the fleet defensively. You must demonstrate judgment, creativity, and human strategy." Rin nodded. She did not panic. Humans thrived in unpredictability, in situations where logic alone failed. She issued commands to the fleet, not as rigid orders but as flexible strategies. Decoys, evasive maneuvers, synchronized energy pulses, each decision required intuition. The enemy ship fired first, energy beams streaking across space. Rin anticipated the trajectory, moving her fleet in patterns no automated system could predict. The Dreadnought itself responded, its weapons aligning with her instincts. She used the ship's shields to protect vulnerable fleet positions, luring the enemy into traps that relied on human unpredictability rather than brute force. Hours, or maybe minutes, time was fluid in the vacuum of space, passed in intense engagement. Rin directed her fleet with calm precision, improvising as the enemy adapted. Every human decision, every creative solution made the difference. The warship, impressive and powerful, struggled to predict her moves. Finally, with a clever use of the Dreadnought's energy manipulation systems, Rin disabled the enemy ship's propulsion. It drifted, helpless, while the fleet remained unscathed. The AI's voice was calm, almost approving. "You have succeeded." Once again, human creativity and judgment proved superior to raw power alone. Rin exhaled, her hands relaxing from the controls. She had faced an unknown threat, outsmarted a machine designed for war, and protected her fleet without unnecessary destruction. The Dreadnought systems pulsed in resonance with her heartbeat, a living connection between human and machine. She set course for the next dormant fleet, each system presenting new challenges. Some were trapped in natural disasters, others threatened by rogue AI constructs. Rin approached each with the same method: careful observation, strategic improvisation, and moral judgment. Each fleet she awakened was integrated seamlessly, expanding her influence without destruction. As the fleets grew, the AI revealed more of the Dreadnought's purpose. Our civilization built these ships to control star systems, but they were never meant to be weapons without human guidance. Only humans possess the foresight, morality, and creativity to wield them safely. Rin felt the weight of responsibility. She had the power to reshape galaxies, but she would not misuse it. Humans could create and destroy, but their greatest strength lay in ingenuity, empathy, and courage. That was what she brought to the Dreadnought. Weeks passed. Rin had awakened all the dormant fleets in the nearby regions, each integrated under the Dreadnought systems. Intelligence networks long forgotten hummed to life, revealing lost star charts, research data, and cultural archives. Rin explored each discovery with fascination, piecing together histories of civilizations lost to time. But she was not idle. The galaxy beyond her reach was full of opportunities and threats. The AI informed her of distant star systems untouched by known civilizations, rich in resources, ancient knowledge, and mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Rin plotted courses to these systems, determined to explore rather than conquer. One night, as she stared at the stars from the bridge, the AI spoke softly. "You have done more than I anticipated. You have awakened the Dreadnought, protected the fleets, and preserved life. You embody the qualities that no other being could provide." Rin smiled faintly. "I didn't do it alone," she said. "You helped me, but it's human intuition and adaptability that made the difference. That's what matters." The AI was silent for a moment, then replied, "Agreed. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but that is their greatest power. I am learning from you as much as you learn from me." For Rin, the moment was profound. She had claimed a ruined Dreadnought expecting scrap. She had discovered a living ship, awakened ancient fleets, defended against threats, and learned secrets of civilizations long lost. But most importantly, she had proven that humans, creative, courageous, and adaptive, could achieve what no machine or alien program could. She set a course for an uncharted system. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, full of possibilities. The Dreadnought pulsed in sync with her determination, engines glowing softly as they prepared for the journey ahead. And Rin knew the truth. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. Humans were not just survivors. Humans were innovators, problem solvers, and pioneers. And now, with the Dreadnought at her command, Rin volleys would show the galaxy that humanity was capable of greatness beyond imagination. The first human to awaken a living Dreadnought, she smiled and whispered to the stars, "Let's see what's out there." The engines roared. The Dreadnought lifted from the asteroid, carrying its human navigator into the unknown. Together, they would chart new worlds, unlock lost secrets, and prove that the human mind, the unpredictable, creative, courageous human mind, was the galaxy's most powerful force. And for the first time in centuries, the Dreadnought was alive in the fullest sense, guided by the spark of humanity.